20-year-old Zach is from Gravesend and is at university full-time. He has Asperger's, and a year ago his mum asked him to leave home because she couldn't cope with his condition. He's here to talk to us today about how he and his mum are both trying to patch up their relationship despite everything he's been through and had to cope with on his own.
Ooh, baby, what you do to me?
Prince Jackson is 26 years old and the son of an African king from Namibia. With 32 siblings and a very strict upbringing in Africa, Prince Jackson was forced to run away from home during his teenage years. He's now married and has a young daughter, and he's come to talk to us today about how his parenting is very different from that of his own parents. Sonia is 23 years old and lives in London on her own. During her early teen years, she lived with her mum, who had remarried after her parents split up and her dad moved to the US. She's come to talk to us today about her difficulties as a teenager in getting along with her stepfather and not getting enough support from her own mum.
So first thing is, what do you think, looking back, and you don't have to look back that far because you're only 20.
No, I can look back about less than a year.
Just less than a year, which is really nice. What do you think the most annoying thing was about your parents? And I'll say your parents because that encompasses your mum, really.
The household.
But what do you think the most annoying thing was about your parents?
Well, my mother, definitely the being very overbearing and quite just kind of intense with her sort of just language and emotions, and just quite quick to decide things and think it's the right thing to do, and then maybe realizing later it could have been done a better way.
Okay.
That sort of thing, yeah. It felt like she was the prosecutor and I was sitting in the trial box, of the court, and she was like, but you failed to mention this and you failed to mention that. I'm like, look, I just wanted a conversation. I didn't know I was going to be a star witness. Right. Or I didn't know I was going to be prosecuted by you. Should we let the judge decide? Oh wait, there isn't one.
Would you actually?
Because we're in the kitchen.
Would you actually say
yes.
that to her? What was her response then? Did she learn from that and think, okay,
No, she said, well, next time I might try a bit harder. And I'm like, that's what you said the last 3 times.
Okay, so that sounds like it could be quite annoying.
Yes.
I mean, I think the whole issue of moving to the UK, I had a lot of identity issues growing up, and I think that sort of got worse when I became a teenager because there was so much going on top of that, to the extent which I just didn't know where I was meant to fit in at school or at home, or so. I think my mom in particular didn't really acknowledge that for a long time. Maybe because she had some guilt about bringing me over with her, leaving my dad behind, leaving my brother behind, my cat. There was a lot of fracturing that went on moving over here, and then on top of that, having to move and start living with this new step family and having not really having my feelings about the situation acknowledged very much.
So it would have only kind of got even bigger because everything in your teenage years is bigger, isn't it? Because your feelings are so much more powerful.
Yeah.
The most annoying thing of my, just quite, too controlling. You not leave home anytime. You have to be back by 5.
Okay, 5 in the morning is good though.
No, 5 in the evening is the
last time that's too early, yeah. 5 in, yeah.
That's 5 in the evening is the last time you're out. As long as you stay there, at their place. Okay. That's the last time you need to be out, imagine. From 5 is when all the, all the fun starts.
Yeah, of course.
5 is when you have to be back home.
Not even 5, it's later than 5 o'clock, isn't it?
Like they control you,
Okay.
like they control you based on like all the criminal activities happening.
Okay.
late.
Because they think they know best for
Yeah,
you.
you know.
They're trying to look after you.
Yeah, more, you know, like even if you are like about 18, as long as you stay at their house,
Okay.
they still look after you.
Okay. So did you look at it like they were looking after you? Because it's annoying, but did you kind of feel really annoyed about it, or was you understanding?
You feel annoyed.
Okay, fair enough.
I think I just wanted to talk about things more. And, you know, in my house, it's always been very sort of passive aggressive.
Okay.
You know, I hear the neighbors next door and they scream at each other. It's very, very aggressive.
Okay.
But in my house, it's kind of like if someone's mad at someone else, we just don't talk.
Don't talk about it.
It's very silent. And
Okay.
there's a lot of just repressed feelings.
Pent up.
Yeah, so
Okay.
we would never, it'd always be like my stepfather and my mom talking, or me and my mom talking. It would never be like the three of us, or even my stepfather and I talking. We're both very like sensitive in that way.
Okay.
But I think maybe we both overestimate how sensitive the other is, and we both kind of think, well, they're just sensitive, and like
Okay.
it's not my problem. And we.
It's like that's moodiness. I don't need to get involved in that.
It's moodiness, but I think I do blame them a lot for not acknowledging like my feelings as well.
Not sort of
And-
getting involved, trying to find out a bit more.
Yeah, and I don't know, especially my stepfather in particular, like whenever he would get angry, like there would be a lot of just like slamming doors,
Okay.
just
From his side or your
silence.
side?
His side.
Okay. Putting that in reverse, then, was there things that maybe you did
Yeah.
that might be annoying
Yep.
to your parents?
Yeah, sure.
What kind of
course.
things might you do that were annoying?
Oh, I sometimes said things to wind her up, like, hey, Mom.
Intentionally?
Yeah.
Okay.
I said, hey, Mom, you know, the kitchen looks very nice apart from your face, but I mean, other than that, if your face was
Oh, that's a bit harsh.
Yeah, I said stuff like that and all sorts, really, but she, you know, she kind of gives back with the whole trial thing, so.
What would you have liked her to do in that situation that would have made life nicer for you, or you would have made you happier?
Maybe have a more gentle conversation.
Okay. So like, you know, sit down, you know, Zach, you know, I'm not happy with this particular thing.
Yeah.
Can we talk about it?
Yeah, rather than, I mean,
Kind of like,
yeah, rather than the whole get in the box.
in the box.
I'm going to be the prosecutor now. And,
okay.
ugh.
They kind of change mode sometimes, parents.
Yeah.
Don't they? I even do it sometimes, I know, even with my own kids, where we'll be all right, we'll be friendly, having a laugh, and then there's something that I need to talk to them about,
Yeah.
and I'll go into dad
Yeah.
mode.
Honestly, yeah, that happens. So, like, one time I was asking my mother about, let's say, chocolates, and then it ended up being about how I never do this and how I never do that, and I'm like, geez, I just came in here to ask you to order some chocolate peanuts.
You sneak out, you know, obviously jump out of the windows and probably come like early morning, and just them to find out that you did not sleep there, but you're still arguing, you know, like you still just denying that you slept home
Okay.
while you knew you did not sleep home. Yeah.
Okay, and would they be annoyed about that?
Very much annoyed.
I mean, apart from going out, was there anything you can feel as a teenager that they were quite annoyed about, you know, because of your behavior?
I was one of the good boys, you know.
Okay,
I
well,
was
that's-
one of the good boys, but it was just those small things that we do
Okay,
that will stress them out, you know, annoys them out.
okay. You didn't bring guns home.
Guns are normal back home.
Oh, they are?
Yeah, guns are very normal, you know, like it
Okay.
doesn't stress anybody out. Like you can buy a gun from the market.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so you could bring a gun home,
Yeah, I know.
and that wouldn't stress your parents.
No,
but if you
no.
brought a girl home, that might stress them out.
Ish. You don't bring girls home.
Don't
That's
bring
all.
girls, just guns. I like that. So teenagers will often find other ways to annoy you, thinking up new ones. In Jackson's case, sneaking outside the house could be annoying if you found out, because again, you're worried about where your child is. But Jackson kind of felt he was maturing, and feeling that way, he knows he needs time out, he needs to spend time with his friends, he's developing. And his parents were very strict, so they're not giving him any room, and he was forced to take that action. So as annoying as it could be for the parents who had set those boundaries and weren't being flexible, he needed to grow. In the case of my own kids, things like leaving packets of biscuits which are empty in the cupboard is annoying to a degree I can't even tell you.
Probably when I used to like So if you have a cupboard, you each have like a cupboard of snacks, right, in the house. And like, what I would have done is like, if say there's 5 biscuits left, right, there's 5. I either have 4 and leave 1 left in the whole packet, or I'll just eat all of them and leave the empty packet in the snack cupboard.
It's the leaving the packet.
Yeah, or like leave the juice bottle in the fridge just empty.
Do you leave that as evidence?
You know what it is, yeah? I think it's half to annoy them and half like doing it subconsciously.
I do have a bad habit of spacing out.
Okay.
And I think that's because that's just how I've always been. I have a few relatives that have ADHD, and I've never been diagnosed myself, but I think maybe I might have it lightly, a slight sort of version of it. I'm not sure.
So that means you just kind of tune out from a situation.
So I just tune out.
That annoyed them?
My mom in particular has gotten annoyed with me.
She's talking to you and she's like, Sonia.
Yeah, and I remember at school as well, my teachers used to tell me I wouldn't like listen. I'd just zone out.